StraightallDay.com.
Tuned into the show where you learn to discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is no one is underpaid or overpaid. Before we get into this, I remind everybody, I send out a text message every single day, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. I call it the daily motivation. I send one out every week, also called the Monday motivation. If you want to get those texts, all you got to do is join my text community. It is free to join the community. My number is 305-384-6894. Once you text me, I'll tell you what your options are from there. Just send me a text right now so you'll be in the community. My number, again, down below in the description. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the only place that I do any coaching. If any of you would like to work with me directly, I'll focus on working with people who are top 2% performers, or you plan on being one. And we will guide you towards getting there based on our 4-part framework of mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. If you find yourself not being mentally in the place that you need to be consistently, if you feel like you want to achieve success, but you're not quite sure that your plan of action is the right one, or you don't have a plan of action, if you know there are certain things you need to get done on a consistent basis, but you have no system for doing so, and or you believe the accountability is one of the most important things that you need because you know all the right stuff that you're supposed to be doing, but for whatever reason, you're not always on the ball and staying on top of it. I understand. We work with a lot of people just like you. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link is again down below in the description. You can get on a call with us. We'll talk about where you're at, where you want to go, and we'll tell you how it goes from there if we feel we can help you and we feel you'd be a good match for what we're doing. That out the way, let's get into this topic, which is no one is underpaid or overpaid. Now, there are several things I've seen lately that got me thinking about this particular topic. One was I was on X/Twitter, which many of you listeners know is the only place where I engage with people in comments and go back and forth in discussions with people who I don't even know, and even comment on stuff that other people posted. I'll respond to my own comments on every platform, but like someone comments on something that I posted, I always respond to those. But X is the only platform where I will comment on something that somebody else posted. You will never see my name in other people's comments on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. I don't comment on other people's shit. As a matter of fact, I don't even look at other people's shit, but on X, I do. So on X, and this is a place that supplies me with some good ideas for content here. So this is one of the reasons why I do it. I saw somebody talking about how teachers are underpaid and how being a teacher may not really be worth it. And I know I have some teachers who listen to this, given all the effort required for being a teacher. And I have teachers in my family as well, and how this underpaying of teachers leads to the desecration of the educational system, is the argument that this person was making. I saw another person saying, they were talking about how some girl had made a lot of money, allegedly 6 and 7 figures per month, through her OnlyFans page. And I saw another person talking about how certain individuals work in the government and they may earn a low 6-figure salary in the government, let's say $150,000 for their government job, but their personal net worth can grow into the tens of millions of dollars over the course of just a handful of years, maybe 5 to 10 years in the process. And these are all examples of people talking about people who are making more or less money than they quote unquote should be or are supposed to, based on whatever the thing is that they're doing, according to the person who was saying it. So I'm just throwing those examples out there because what I'm going to do today, I'm going to explain how every single one out there, including you and I, we are paid exactly as we should be paid, even if you want that number to be bigger than it is, or you see somebody else's number and you think it should be less than it is. Everybody's getting paid exactly what they should be. And I'll tell you what to do about it. If you feel like the number, for most of you, I bet most of you say your number probably should be bigger than it is, or you want it to be bigger than it is, even if you agree that where it is now is based on, it's of your own doing, but you want it to be bigger, what can you do about it? I'm gonna tell you about that as well. I doubt there's anyone here who thinks you should be getting paid less. But any of you who feels like you are underpaid, you're not getting paid enough. And this kind of relates to what we were talking about yesterday when I told you I was talking to someone on Twitter, a they, them, And this person update on that person is that they kind of bailed out of the conversation by focusing on, I asked them like 5 questions. And one of the questions was, it was a tongue-in-cheek question because they identified as a they, them in their profile. I said, were you born with a penis or a vagina? And they focused on that and said, oh, do you ask your other employees that? And they didn't say anything else. So they probably are not going to answer the rest of the questions because they had no answer for those questions. So that puts an end to that. But we'll see. We'll see. Pending. Maybe they will decide to respond anyway. We will see. I'll give you an update on that as on an as needed basis. So I'm going to tell you what to do about all of this. Point number one. Topic once again today is nobody is underpaid or overpaid. Number one, money you generate is based on what you are actually worth, not what you think you're worth. The money you generate is based on what you are actually worth, not what you think you're worth. And what you're actually worth and what you think you're worth are often not the same. If you want to know what your current efforts are actually worth, well, look at your bank account, your merchant processor, the money in your wallet, your net worth, ask your accountant, whoever it is, whoever or wherever it is that you can see what you're bringing in. If you want to know what the work that you're doing is actually worth, that's what we'll tell you. The black and white results in front of you. Simple as that. That tells you what you're actually worth because it's directly related to what you receive. Now, most people think they're worth more than they are actually worth. Most people say that, hey, I believe I'm worth 10 times what I'm currently receiving. And this is completely fine. It's completely fine to believe that. I put myself in this category. I believe I'm worth more than I'm earning right now. I think I should be earning 10 times what I'm earning right now. So what do we do about this? That's the real question. You need to figure out a way to either, A, leverage what you do so you can get more of it done with the same amount of time that you have, which is, you have a certain amount of time every day, a certain amount of time left in life. So you got to figure out, how can I get more done with the time that I have? Or do what you do for more people in the same time. That's another way of leveraging. So instead of serving 2 people at a time, how can you serve 10 or 20 or 200 people at a time and still give them the value that they want? Or here's another option: give more value to people, same number of people, same amount of time. Just give them more value so that they are willing to give you more money for what you're doing. That's it. Those are the ways you do it. The ways that you increase your revenue. Any of you want to increase your revenue? I did a whole episode on this subject, by the way. I'm not going to look for it right now, so I don't recall off the top of my head what I titled it. But there are only 3 ways to increase your revenue in any business. All right, one is to increase your prices. In other words, get people to give you more money and give them the exact same thing or you can get them more value, but basically, in other words, you have the same number of transactions, same number of people, just get more money per transaction. That's one way of doing it. Another way is to increase the frequency of transactions. So instead of somebody buying from you once a week, get them to buy from you twice a week. So now it's double the money. Another way is to just get more people to buy from you, period. So you can keep serving the same people what you've been giving them, just get more of those people into your world. So instead of having 10 customers, have 30. So that way you can increase your revenue anyway. So those are the 3 ways: more frequency, higher prices, more people. So any of you wants to make more money in your business, that's what you need to do. How can I get paid more than once? Instead of getting paid once every 2 weeks, I'm going to get paid every week. All right. Instead of getting paid this much, how can I increase the amount that I get paid each time I get paid by 2x, 3x, 10x? Or how can I just get more people to pay me? All right, I'll get paid once a week, but how can I get 3 different people to pay me instead of just 2 people paying me? Those are the ways you increase your revenue. So while you do have a say in what value you provide, the final say goes to the marketplace. That's the person or people who are willing and able, or unwilling and unable, to pay you. All right, the final say is what you are able to bring in from the marketplace based on if the marketplace or how the marketplace values you what you're offering. And you can play a role in that because you can control the conversation about what you're offering, which will have an effect on how the marketplace decides to value it. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is nobody is overpaid or underpaid. And so this first point was really about you just understanding how we all get into the situations that we're in and a broad stroke idea of what you can do about it. Now let's get into more details. And we're going to talk. First, we got to get clear on the mindset behind this, because without the proper mindset, folks, on this subject, I can give you all the how-to in the world. You will not implement or make any of this how-to work for you if you had the wrong mindset. It's like you don't put, we have to get your mindset into a right frame of mind. So any of you who has a car, you go to the gas station, you don't put a 93 octane inside of a 20-year-old car that's a Toyota. It just doesn't make sense. The Toyota does not understand the language of that gas. And if you have a Ferrari, a brand new Ferrari you just got last week, you don't put 87 unleaded inside of that because the Ferrari needs a different type of gas. So I'm changing your mindset from the we got to change your mindset from the Toyota mindset to the Ferrari mindset. I'm not just talking about here today. I'm talking about this is what we do in Work on Your Game University. We get you into the Ferrari. We take your mindset from being a Toyota to being a Ferrari. And then once we have done that, then we put the 93 octane gas inside of the tank. All right, everybody understand where I'm coming from here, that extended metaphor? So here's point number 2. We got to get to the mindset part of this. Mindset piece is the following. Money does not move for logical reasons. I did a whole episode on this as well. Money does not move for logical reasons. Money moves for money reasons. And money is not logical the way human beings are. Once you understand and internalize this point, you will do better at generating money. Simple as that. You'll do better at anything when you understand the language of the thing. Whatever the thing is, the better you understand that language, the better you'll do with that thing. If I don't, for example, I understand very well the language of basketball. I could do basketball, I can teach basketball, I can talk basketball at a very high level because I understand the language of the game. When I say the language, I don't mean I just know the terms and the lingo. What I mean is I can speak about basketball to other people who know basketball on a level that within 5 minutes they will understand that I know basketball just as well, if not better, than they do, because I can speak the language. And they can ask me a question, I can answer. I can ask them a question, they can answer. We can just exchange points, and they'll know that I know my shit. I'll know that they know their shit because I can speak the language. Now, on the other hand, if I was to have a conversation with somebody about tennis or swimming, it'll be very clear within 5 minutes that I do not know the language of tennis. It doesn't mean I don't speak English. Again, it means I don't know the nuances of the game, and I can't have a conversation with someone who knows it as if I know the nuances, because it will be very obvious very quickly that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm basically pretending. If I had a conversation with someone who's an expert at tennis, I would ask them questions based on my lack of knowledge so that I could better understand the game. So I wouldn't try to pretend. So when it comes to money, folks, you need to understand the language of money and why money does what it does. And the better you understand it, the better you will be at taking actions that will position you to bring more of that money to you because you're speaking its language. Everyone understand where I'm coming from here? So let me test you with a pop quiz. All right, here's the pop quiz. Who provides more value to a society? Okay, I'm going to ask you the question and you're going to answer it, and you also think about why. I'm going to take a sip of water while you're thinking about the answer. First, I'm going to give you a question. So who provides more value to a society? I'm going to give you 2 answers. Option A school teacher who earns $60,000 per year, or option B, an OnlyFans girl who earns $100,000 per month. This comes out to $1.2 million per year. So the question is, who provides more value? School teacher earns $60K a year, or the OnlyFans girl who earns $1 million a year? Who provides more value and why? I want you to think on that while I take a sip of water, and then I'm going to tell you the answer. And I want not just the answer, I want the why. Why is, I want you to play around with this and challenge yourself mentally. Why is your answer your answer? Because the why to this answer is the key to the whole point. It's not just the answer itself. The key to the whole point is the why behind it. When I give you this why, this is part of you understanding the mindset and the mentality and the language of how money moves around. And when you can internalize this, this is when things start to change. Okay, y'all ready? Okay. If we understand value and what value means, and I've done episodes on this subject as well, value is what people want. That's value. Value is simply what people want. If you have something that people want, you have value. And you could, or value is how people, what's the better way of languaging that? We'll just call it what people want. That's fine. If you have a thing that people want, then we can call that wealth as well. And being able to translate wealth into money is just called sales. Letting people know you have it is called marketing. So value can be used as a noun or a verb. So the noun of value is what people want. And it can be in a certain level. It can be at certain amounts as well if we want to get more detailed into that, which we're not going to do at this moment. If you understand value as what people want, the answer is very easy. Answer is the OnlyFans girl who earns $1 million a year is a lot more valuable than the school teacher who earns $60,000 per year. almost 10 times as valuable, almost 20 times as valuable, as a matter of fact, to the dot. Why? This is the key point. It's not the answer itself. Here's the why is the key. All right. And maybe some of you got this right. I would bet most of you did not, but I'm going to explain it to you. The OnlyFans girl has a mechanism that allows her to give more value, i.e., she can give more people what they want, as evidenced by the fact that more money is accruing to her than is accruing to the school teacher. Now, I know some people don't like this answer. I know some of you don't like what I just said. Let me say it again, and I'm going to explain it. Don't leave yet. OnlyFans girl has a mechanism that allows her to give more value, i.e., she can give more people what they want. At least we're just assuming that they're given a small amount each. It could be one person giving her $1 million a year, technically. But let's just assume everybody's giving her $10 or $20 or $50 a month. Let's just assume that. She can give more people what they want. And we know this because of the amount of money she's able to generate. Now, that does not mean that the school teacher is not valuable. Of course, school teachers are valuable. Now, who is providing a more important job to the future of our society? I would say the school teacher, because the school teacher is teaching the youth, and the youth is going to be the adults pretty soon. Whereas the OnlyFans girl is probably serving some men who may or may not be contributing to society at all, right? I mean, they're on OnlyFans. So at that moment, they ain't contributing. They're contributing to the economy, I suppose, but they're not contributing to general society by doing anything that most of us would say is productive and substantial. Let's just say that subjectively. And some of you may say it's great, right? But subjectively, probably not. Again, school teacher is valuable. The issue is school teacher has not figured out, when we're talking money here, remember the topic is money moves while money moves. Right? That's the topic. All right, let's remember the point rather. School teacher has not yet figured out a vehicle to help them generate what the OnlyFans girl is generating. Again, we're talking specifically about money. I'm not saying the school teacher is doing anything wrong. If the topic is money, the school teacher has not figured out what the OnlyFans girl has figured out. Okay? That school teacher could earn $100,000 per month as a teacher if that school teacher had a different mechanism, a different vehicle for doing what the school teacher does. School teacher probably is not going to earn $100,000 per month working in the school that the school teacher is currently working in. Probably not going to get there through that vehicle. In my series that I did on the 12 Work on Your Game Commandments, let me pull up that episode. So any of you who has not listened to that, you can go listen to it. It's episode number 2219 through 2222. The 12 Work on Your Game Commandments is actually 13 of them. One of them is the right vehicle. Right vehicle means you have to take the skills that you have and the abilities that you have to apply them in the right place for the right people in order for you to get the outcome that you want. Sometimes you have the right skills, but you're just applying it in the wrong place. I had physical athletic talent as a youth, but I was applying it in the wrong place when I dabbled in football, then baseball, and then I finally found basketball, and basketball was the right vehicle. Had I stayed in those vehicles or tried soccer or tennis, who knows, maybe I would have been good at one of those. But until I found basketball, I wasn't in the right vehicle. When I found the right vehicle, things started working. Some of you right now in your businesses and in your lives, you are simply in the wrong vehicle. You have the right tools, you have the right ideas, you have the right spirit and intention. You simply are in the wrong vehicle. Your vehicle is just not going to get you where you want to go. When you get in the right vehicle, then things will start working. Sometimes, again, you just need the right tools and the right things around you and the right things in you at the same time. So the school teacher, some of you work as school teachers. Maybe I would guess some of you work as school teachers. I guess I might have a couple OnlyFans people listen to this as well. School teachers may be wondering, okay, Dre, how can I earn $100,000 as a teacher? Well, the first thing is you got to get out of the wrong vehicle. You got to get out the wrong car before you get in the right car. You have to get out of that vehicle that you're in, and you could take your teaching ability and you could, for example, do it online, build your own audience, start charging people a membership or charge them for products and services the same way that the OnlyFans girl is. It's a different industry, and you can make the money that you want to make. But if you're working in the school system, which you probably know, teacher, if you're listening to this, there is a pay scale. You know exactly how much money you're going to make based on what school you're at, what job you have, how long you've been working. It tells you right there. There's literally a ceiling on how much money you can make given how much time you got left. Is this true or not? Yes, it is. So if you want to make $100,000 per month, you know factually that the vehicle that you're in is incapable of getting you there. I'm not saying you need to be aiming for this, but if you want to aim for it, you know that that vehicle ain't it. Everybody understand where I'm coming from? Understand that value, folks. And when I'm talking about value here, again, our point here, we're on point number 2. Money moves for money reasons. Remember, that's the point. Value is not just about how good the thing that you do is or how good you are at the thing. That's not what value means. Value, that's not all that value means, rather. That's part of it, but that's not, most of it is not that. It's also about who are you doing it for? Who are you giving your thing to? Who knows about it? How are you giving it to them? And the people who receive it, how are they valuing it? All of this is part of value. So when I simplified it by saying value as what people want, well, what do people want? People want a lot of things, right? And what people want, you ask somebody, what do you want? They often, if they have an answer, is often a long list. It could be a list. And what somebody wants can be a long list of things. Even in one specific area, you ask a single person, what do you want in a man? Or what do you want in a woman? It could be a long list of things. It ain't just one thing. So understand that value, it encompasses a lot of different stuff. Right? Everybody get where I'm at here. Okay. So who are you doing it for? Who knows about it? How are you giving it to them? How do they value it? See, the person that you're serving, if they value what you're offering way more than another person does, you might want to serve the person who values it more because they'll be willing to pay more for it. If your goal is to make more money from it. Sometimes you just might be selling to the wrong people. That can be the case too. You can give the exact same speech, for example, if you're a speaker, you get the exact same speech to 2 different audiences, and one audience will pay you $50,000 for that speech. Another audience will only pay you $50. Why? Because one audience only has $50, the other audience has 50,000, and the material, though exactly the same, is worth a lot more to one audience than it is to another. Sometimes, again, this is all part of the vehicle, folks. Sometimes you are just plying your trade for the wrong people. Nothing wrong with your abilities. You don't even need to change what you do. You simply need to change who you do it for and where you do it, and also the conversation around it. So when you do your thing for the right people, they understand why it's worth what it's worth, and they'll be willing to give you what you want. This is all part of the marketing process, which falls under strategy in the Work on Your Game University formula. Mindset, strategy, systems, accountability. If I was the same person who I am now, but I didn't have this show, let's say this show never came up, 3,000 episodes we've done never existed, how many of you would have never found me in the first place? If this show didn't exist, how many of you would not have found me? In other words, how many of you found me through the fact that I have this show? And so if that's you, if I didn't have this show, you wouldn't know me. So see, value is not just about if you're good at what you do, because I'll still be the same level of skill that I am, even if you didn't know about me, but you never would have found me. So I wouldn't have been able to give my value to you, which would have limited my reach. And other places that I'm not right now, right? There are places that I'm not active right now that, since I'm not giving my value there, people who only pay attention to that space and don't pay attention to this space might not find me unless or until I get in that space, or unless until they come to me. So value is a relative term. It depends on who's talking about it and what their needs are at that time. People's needs change as well. When you were 2 years old, value might have been some clean clothes and a pull-up diaper. When you're 22, value changes. When you're 62, that value changes. This is why marketing is an ongoing relationship with your audience. It's not just one thing that you do one time, because things change. So value is not just about how good you are. It's, can you get what you do to the people who actually want it and value it the same way that you value it, i.e. they're willing to pay you what you want. That's value. Are you giving what you have to people who want it and are willing and able to give you what you want in exchange for it? All of that is part of the value equation. So I could be this exact same person again, and I could teach the exact same lessons that I'm teaching, and I could have the same skill, and I could be an 8th grade math teacher right now. Would it be the same value? No. Same person? Yes. Can those 8th graders pay me what my customers and clients pay me now? No. And their parents? Maybe. But for what I'm offering, probably not. And this distinction matters. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is nobody is overpaid nor underpaid. Number 3, the market works how the market works. meaning the following. And this is something that I was explaining to this they, them individual on X yesterday that I was telling you. The market works how the market works. So you wagging your finger at the market or saying that the market is bad or unethical or these jobs shouldn't exist or these people deserve this amount of money because this and that and the third. All right, that's all bullshit. We call that the I just read about this the other day. They call it the nirvana fallacy. Nirvana meaning like the perfect scenario, the utopian fallacy. All right, this thing does not exist. There is no society where everything's going to be exactly perfect. There are trade-offs to everything. There are no perfect scenarios, only trade-offs. Told you this in episode 2174. And I'm saying all that to say this. The market is the market. The market is not asking you, nor am I asking you, to agree with what the market does. I'm not asking you to agree with market forces. I'm not asking you to be happy about the market responding the way that it responds to certain stimuli. What I am telling you is that the market is going to do what the market does, and it would be smart of you. It would behoove you to learn how the market works, learn the language of the market, and adjust yourself to a circumstance, because that's what the market is. It's not a problem to be solved, but a circumstance to be adjusted to, so that you can stop complaining about things that ain't going to change just because you complained about them. And I want that point to sink in. So leave that empty gap right there that I just left. That needs to sink in. The market works how it works. Do not waste your resources, such as your brain power or your time, complaining about how the market is. Don't complain that some OnlyFans girl can make $100,000 in a month while you, classy lady, or at least comparatively calling yourself that to the OnlyFans girl, you aren't making that. All right, don't complain about that. That's just the market responding how the market responds. At least today it is, at least for that person. Don't complain that the school teachers are only making this much money, even though they're working really hard and they spend a whole lot of their own money to decorate their classrooms, and they got to deal with these parents who get mad that you give the kids homework and all this other stuff. Yeah, I get it. I get that you're annoyed by that, but don't complain that the market is the market. I mean, you did choose your role, and you have an option to leave it. I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying you did choose it. Don't complain that the Kardashians earn what they earn, and they're just famous for being famous. Right? Instead, if your goal is to increase your returns, specifically financially, you need to figure out the right value, the right process, the right audience, and the right mechanism for making your returns produce what you want them to produce. That's it. How do I adjust what I'm doing or where I'm doing it or who I'm doing it for or how this works so that I can get the outcomes that I want to get? In other words, you need to not complain. Instead, play the game. I told you this in episode 1210. Don't complain, play the game. The reason we call this work on your game, one of the reasons, is that you got to know what game you're in. And often, I talk to a lot of people every day. Often people have no idea what game they're in. They think they're in one game, they're actually in another game. If you're unclear as to what game you're in, then it makes perfect sense that your performance is not hitting the way you want it to hit, because you think you're playing baseball, but you're actually playing basketball. You show up to a baseball game with basketball equipment. I guess there's no equipment for basketball, so no, it's still a good example because you don't have a glove. How are you going to play baseball with no glove? You probably can't play the field, right? Or you show up to a basketball game with your baseball equipment on, people are going to look at you like you're crazy, right? It doesn't quite make sense. You can't use a bat on the basketball court or a glove. You probably don't want to run up and down the court with cleats on. Probably not going to work. Or wear a hat on your head during the game. So you got to show up with the right tools for the game that you're in. Many people don't know what game they're in. And once you're clear what game you're in, then you work on your game, develop your abilities so that you can perform in the game, produce results, and get the rewards that you want. That's part of the work on your game equation. And the thing is, when you learn how to play the game, the same abilities and skills that you have now will be worth a lot more than they are today. When you learn how to play the game that you're in, and you learn how to play it the right way, the same skills you have now will be worth a lot more tomorrow. Not because the market decided anything different generally, not because there was some seismic shift that happened last night while you were sleeping. It's simply because you adjusted yourself to the game that you're actually in as opposed to the game that you thought you were in. And this is, again, a mindset shift, folks. This is not a skill difference. As I said, the exact same skills. You simply learn how to play the game in a way that actually works, and all of a sudden things start working. That's literally how it goes, folks. You got to learn how to play the game the way it actually works. One of the things that I've been doing, just to give you all a glimpse of where we are headed as a company working on your game, moving into, and looking at my notes here, we're creeping up on the end of 2023 as you all are listening to this episode, is really making sure that I am focused on the main things that I do best. I told you, my money skills. I have 3 specific money skills. They are writing, they're speaking to individuals, and speaking to audiences. 1, 2, and 3. Right now, this is speaking to audiences. I'm recording this show, and an audience of people are going to see this. I'm not talking to one individual person. And those are the things that I really want to focus on and offload all other things besides those things. And there are other things that are important, but I don't want to be doing them because those are not my $1,000,000 skills. So things like the marketing and advertising, what we call them, campaigns that we run, as far as funnel building, as far as lead nurture and generation. We have some systems in place for that, and we can make those even better. Posting stuff on social media, things like that. I have teams and people who do that kind of stuff. Editing the audio for this show, we have teams and people who do that kind of stuff. So there's some things we already have systems in place to get me off of the job, and we got some things that still need to be put in place. And there's some things that I'm going to get more active in. I'm going to get more active again in the professional speaking world, which I still do speaking gigs. I actually just booked a speaking gig about from when I'm recording this, probably a couple of days ago from when I'm recording this with you all. But I want to get more active in actually actively looking for speaking gigs and saying, hey, y'all never heard of me, but you should book me to come speak. I haven't really been doing that for a while now, because I've really been focused on working on your game university. But I'm going to get back into that. And I know some people who can do some things that I damn sure don't want to be doing, but I know need to be done on my behalf so I can move things forward in business. When it comes to just some other pieces and mechanisms and some things that we may do as far as a university, some marketing things we may do, and some people who I know who specialize in those specific niche things that looking at them might that be a good thing for us to do, but I'm damn sure not doing it. I'm not doing the work. Okay, you can do that. It costs how much? Okay, let's work with you. You take care of it, and y'all just let me know when I can come in and do one of my money skills, which is speaking to a person, speaking to a group, or writing. All right, where do I fit in? Okay, I'm going to oversee this whole thing, but I'm only going to be doing these things that are the money skills. The whole point here, me sharing that with you all, is that when those right pieces are in place and I'm focused on doing what I should be doing and I'm in position to do just the main things that I should be doing, then we'll produce a lot, even more returns than we're producing right now, simply because we got all the right people in the right places. That's the point. And it's the same thing for you. And that doesn't mean you need to go hire a whole bunch of different people or outsource and do all these things that I'm describing, because that's where I'm at. That's the season I'm in my business. That doesn't mean you need to do that. What it means is you got to make sure that you are driving the right vehicle, and that applies to everybody in your space. Everybody in your environment needs to be driving the right vehicle. You got to make sure everybody's in the right job. Is everyone doing what they really should be doing that produces the highest ROI both for you and for them? Because not producing high ROI for them, they're probably not going to stick around. And they're probably not going to do their best work. And maybe they can't do their best work because they ain't that good. So you got to make sure everybody's in the right space. And that will help everybody take off, help everybody do better, and everyone will probably want to stick around because it's all working for everyone. That said, let's recap today's class, which is no one is underpaid or overpaid. Number one, money you generate is based on what you are actually worth, not what you think you're worth. A lot of us have a discrepancy between what we're actually worth and what we think we're worth. That's fine. All you got to do then is figure out how do we change this equation so that we create the value that we actually want to be producing. There's nothing wrong with there being that discrepancy. As a matter of fact, if you don't have that discrepancy, you probably have no drive or impetus to move yourself forward. So almost all of us have that. So there's nothing wrong with having it. It's just what do you do about it? Number two, money does not move for logical reasons, logical human reasons. It moves for money reasons. And money has its own language and its own brain. So you need to understand how money moves and learn to speak that language, and it'll probably help you make a lot more money, again, without a change in skill. Number three, the market works how it works. Do not waste your resources complaining about the market or how these people who seem to not be that good, quote unquote, or that valuable, quote unquote, are able to generate so much revenue because, again, it has nothing to do with what you think. Again, the market has its own brain, its own mechanisms, and you need to learn how the game is played so that you can play it at the same level that everybody else is playing it. And then if you actually do have more substance and you're actually better than these other people, then guess what? you may be able to produce more returns than they are. So again, don't complain about the game being what it is. Get in the game, learn how to play it, and you can beat these people who you think you should be beating anyway. Beat them at the game. All right, play the game the right way. All right, you're trying to change the game when instead you need to change your approach. All that said, text me, see you in my text community. My number is 305-384-6894. Numbers down below in the description. Work on your game university. We got a 4-part framework: mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. If you would like to have me as your direct coach, the only way to do it is inside the university. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, link in description. Work on your game. Dre all